Here we go. We live. We do fun things. I'll wait for people to join though. If people join, we'll see. If not, we're playing a game against, or showing nobody. Emmy! Yay!
Really cool books.
Yeah, that's her handle. I know. She posted some awesome photos today. Awesome. She went out to her apartment pool and took like a bunch of photos.
Annie's Book Nook.
Of the books. Yeah. And of the all
and
the
your
cards. Mom. Oh yeah, my mom always joins. Mom always joins. That's the fun part. The fun part when mom joins and I start talking about sex scenes. That's always enjoyable. It's so not weird. Hi, Mama. Oh, man. Too fun. I'm excited. I'm excited to have you on for this. We got... What are you doing?
I waved to Julia.
I was like, it's hard to see that far. That's funny. Oh, my goodness. We're going to have guest appearances by the cats, by the dog, who is eyeing us. But we got a lot of fun planned for today. We got a game. We got some questions. I have some questions for you. We're also doing just some questions. Because you've read the book.
I have read.
You were also here when I was kind of creating it and things like that, so that's fun.
It was fun. A lot of things changed. A lot of things happened.
Yeah, it did.
You veered me something, and I was like, wait a minute, wasn't
we
something
weren't doing
else
that,
going to happen?
right? I was like, no, it worked better this way. I changed my mind. We're also doing a signed giveaway paperback. Look at that brick. It's a door stopper. We're doing a signed giveaway, so stay tuned because I will be giving out a code word in the middle of this that you will DM me, and you will be entered to win a signed paperback copy of The Curse of Broken Shadows, which is the first book in this epic romantic fantasy. Somebody did ask me, here I can do the first question, how many books planned for this series? I can tell you at least 3. So 1, 2, and 3, and a prequel that will...
Is it already half written?
No, half is a little generous. Just a little generous. It is being written. I have all the stories. I know all the stories. Obviously, it's just about getting it down because I had to have those stories for
context and background. In
right.
The book.
So I can tell. I'll tell you the ones that I've written so far. I have done an early scene with Brayla learning to become an assassin, or training to become an assassin. She also has a little bit of time, so we kind of see how she escapes Valicé, as well as, if you guys remember, those of you who've written at Ovir and Dernian's home, there is a statue of the Earth God Yoda. And there's a missing raised arm. Who knows how that happened? You might find out in the prequel how that missing arm came to exist, or came to no longer exist. That's one of the stories. I have, if some of you might somewhat remember a casual reference to being chained to the bottom of a river in the middle of winter. That's also one of the stories that will happen. What? I've been mispronouncing these character names this whole time. No, don't worry.
I've told her she should include a pronunciation guide along with the glossary, but you leave it to the reader to come up with the story and how it sounds out in their own head.
Yeah, I might need to do that, but I also enjoy like people's interpretations of it. Somebody asked, I had a question, how do you pronounce Orhurst? And then there's another one. Brella is a lot of people say Brella, and no offense, but that sounds kind of ugly to me. So Brayla is
Yoda, the Earth Goddess.
Eota.
Eota.
Euota.
But Yoda's good too. I like Yoda.
Yoda's fine as well. That's funny. Oh my gosh. Yes, it is. I'll try to do a pronunciation guide. Maybe I'll do a video or something like that.
I'll write it for you.
Just to, there you go. I'll tell you how to do it. Just to like give you guys some context. But I kind of enjoy when people have like their own interpretations of how words are pronounced and stuff like that. So that's kind of funny.
What were the book, not book critic guys, the book workshop guys, like Valicia,
yeah, Valisay, Orhurst, Rook, Ceathy, Severina, Ithral, Dicaris.
I always get those two wrong.
Unsheltius. That one's a tough one. That's tough for even me to say. And then it was funny because I'm in my writing groups on Wednesday. I'm trying to like read in two different languages because there is some shadow language and there's some Sanskrit language, and so trying to like switch and read like words that I've told, like they don't make sense. They don't. Like Kia Kirosha is probably my favorite. I think I made that one work really well.
Like whenever you have the Sanskrit
whenever I have the Sanskrit or the
completely
shadow.
Different than how you read
it. Just because you have like X's and Z's and CZ's and like.
So like just depending on even human languages, it's like an X can be pronounced 3 different ways. Like
right.
Which one do you choose?
And sometimes depending on the context,
maybe Latin or Spanish.
Yeah. How are we doing this? Oh my goodness. So that's really funny. Okay. So my first question for you: who was your favorite character in this book? I know you're not big on favorites, but
I'm not big on favorites.
Yeah. Who did you enjoy at least like reading maybe, or their storyline or something like maybe something
of the main characters? I did enjoy Kaysen because he's like the quiet one. He always feels outsidery, but he also has this like kind of force of nature power to him. Mm-hmm. So I liked Kaysen of the main characters. I'll think about the side like supporting characters.
Yeah, Kaysen's definitely a good one. I mean I have to go with Brayla. Like I think that like she's just like an unleashing of everything that you want a female fantasy character to be. Like banter, badass. Like she's serious when she needs to be. She's joking when she needs to be serious, but also. Like just in general is just overall this good character, and I think it's fun now that I'm kind of writing her prequel story because so the prequel will mostly it will focus on her story, and you know how she meets Farah, her time with Ovier, how she meets Elias. The Crystal Desert will be one of the stories, so I know you guys are probably excited about that because Oni is one of my favorite characters. But like being able to like. You see her in this context in this book and being able to write her as this somewhat inexperienced, you know, she's still this badass, but she just has an air about her that's so different than what she is in this book. And it's kind of fun to see that and see how that changes throughout her story and how it develops, you know, from her first little short story. So the prequel is going to be a collection of short stories. Some will be longer, some will be shorter. But seeing that development from, okay, she's just escaped Valisay. She's only, you know, been in Darnian's home for a couple years. And then, you know, how that changes by the time she meets Farah, how it changes by the time she meets Elias, and what kind of happens after that. And so that's actually a lot of fun. So, yeah, Brayla's definitely my favorite character. My next question, so I did something different with this book, and I did chapter titles. And that, I think, was potentially the most fun that I've had, like, coming up. It was also the most challenging because sometimes I would, you know, like, I would go 3 or 4 chapters, I would write 3 or 4 chapters beyond, and then have to go back and be like, I gotta figure out a name for this chapter. So my question for you is, what was your favorite chapter title of all of them?
The chapters alone, the titles are kind of like normal everyday words, but mm-hmm. I really loved how you wove in how the chapter titles related, not obviously, but kind of subtly to the events of that chapter. But my favorite, probably the most clever, would be the silent treatment in the second half of the book.
That is, so the silent treatment is funny because at this point I had to write a chapter entirely without having a character speak. So Brayla is unable to speak in this chapter, for reasons. And so the silent treatment was hilarious because I have to express.
It's funny.
It's from her perspective, but being able to make her express herself with gestures and stuff, and
mostly capture the party's reactions to her.
Right, and her just kind of interpreting things and trying to convey everything that she, like with just face gestures and things like that. Now
it puts her in a difficult spot because Brayla is always someone that will tell you what she thinks.
She'll tell you straight up what she thinks.
But now she can't.
Yeah, and so that was a lot of fun, especially because if you're not familiar, I feature multiple languages in this. Obviously, the normal speaking language, that's, but there's also a shadow language, which actually has real translations, Sanskrit language that also has real translations. But I also, and it's hard to do obviously in a book, but I incorporated sign language. So I wanted this sort of communication between the found family group, Farah, Brayla, and Elias. And I wanted them to have some sort of communication with one another. And so, when you're in the middle of the heist, you can't shout like, hey, go do this, or, and so being able to incorporate sign language, I actually thought that was a lot of fun. They can't text, they can't, send instant messages to each other.
It's not Sarah J. Maas world.
Yeah, we're not in Crescent City. We can't text. But yeah, so I thought that was actually a lot of fun to be able to do that, and incorporate that, because you can kind of have secret conversations between the three assassins, and kind of that always gets on Kaysen's nerves because he can't understand what's happening.
Really?
He's like, really? Are you flirting in front of me? Come on now. That is one of my favorite scenes. So yeah, that I thought that was actually really fun. So the silent treatment is definitely that's a fun chapter. I think there are a couple. The Shadow Wolf Under My Bed is funny. That's a good one. But I think my favorite of all time is A Shit Rescue. Just like, and I swear I came up with this chapter title. Like, I don't know if everybody has like seen the trailer. It was even in the trailer, I think, for Black Widow. When I don't know the sister's name, I can't remember it. She goes, "This is a shit plan." I swear I came up with this chapter title before I saw any of that. But at the same time, I thought that was really funny because I'm like, wow, this is great. This is a shit rescue. That was a good one. But yeah, I thought that one was really funny. Okay, so I have my questions. That's why I'm looking over here, I swear. Okay, so one of the questions that I got on Discord was, where did the ideas and the implementation of magic come from? Well, I've always loved elemental magic, but I've always had like this just like special relationship with like shadow magic. I think I love that so much. Like, I mean, I incorporated it in my Blue Star series. Nate has shadow manipulation powers, umbrakinesis, and so I've always like enjoyed shadow stuff, like shadow related things, and so I thought that was a lot of fun. So I wanted to incorporate kind of this elemental magic. I liked the ideas of like being able to not necessarily limit magic to only magic wielders. So being able to, create stones or objects. So like Brayla has the braids in her ear or in her hair above her ear that has protective sun magic in it as well. And so being able to, have all of like normal people who don't have magic use those sorts of elements as well. I think it just adds a little bit to it, so it's not like this, yes, there is like this superiority complex of like, my magic is better than yours, I have more magic than you, things like that. And I thought that, kind of adding that where it kind of levels the playing field a little bit, being able to do that. But I also enjoyed adding the whole you only get the tattoos, you only can show off that magic strength if you're wealthy, if you can afford going to the schools. So you have Kaysen, who is just decked out in tattoos, and if you want to see, Emmy Scherer has all of the artwork up on hers. Really Cool Books is her handle on Instagram. She has all of those little cards up, and if you want to see Kaysen's ink, she did such a good job bringing that to life. It was unreal. Like, I cried when I first saw it. I was just like, I could not have done it better. I mean, I described it in my books, but I was like, this is just amazing.
Yeah, the artwork Emmy had there for Kaysen was almost exactly how I was picturing it in my mind also.
Oh, it's so good. Unbelievable. I was just floored seeing that because it was
your initial sketches were more simplistic.
Well, I can't draw. I can't draw.
And
Emmy
she went
can
more
draw.
for like the full sleeve chest pieces that I kind of imagined as befitting like his power levels.
Oh, it's so good. You got to go check it out. I have it tagged on my Instagram so you guys can follow her. They are incredible, but I loved adding that piece of, you know, not only, well, everybody's obviously afraid of Kaysen's magic, his fire specifically, but being able to add that element to it was a lot of fun, and kind of a little bit mess with it too, because you have Farah, whose tattoos are a little bit distorted, and she's ashamed of them.
But she's so much more powerful.
But she's so much more powerful than what
represent.
Right, and so it's like this. You know, you can't really tell who has all of the power and things like that. You know, Brayla has shadow magic, but she doesn't have any tattoos. Obviously, you know, she's hiding that magic. And then you have Elias. You have Elias, who is stronger in his herbal magic, who has no tattoos for herbal magic because he didn't like them, and so he conveniently missed all of those graduation inks, only got the strength ones, and then has this abomination on his shoulder that Brayla designed, and he loves it. Like, he'll show that sleeve like
it's not sanctioned, it's not recognizable, it's just...
No, it is just something that Brayla doodled, and he was like, I want that on my body, and he hauls her over his shoulder and says, you're going to go do this right now. You're going to ink this on me. And so I loved just that element, because it's something that's like strict in the society that these three have just like totally like, who cares? Like, we're just going to do what we want. And I loved that so much, being able to add those like tattoos in a different element, and just give it a new flavor and things like that. And so and then you have, you know, people like Cyril, who has healing magic, and it was like, oh, that's the weaker magic, and you know, that people are embarrassed by.
It just kind of like elaborates on the biases present in the societies that you've created, because like healing magic is friggin' useful.
It's so useful. How many times has Cyril been useful in this?
Dying.
Right, and Cyril's been so useful. Farah has a little bit of healing magic. Not as strong as Cyril's, but it's still just enough. And I loved the idea too of bringing in like tainted magic. So if you have more than one magic, or more than one God's blessed magic. So if you have like Kaysen is moon and sun blessed, Farah is earth and moon blessed. Adding in those elements of like, you're considered tainted. Like, it doesn't matter how strong you are, because Kaysen's beyond past, you know, all of the graduation marks for all of his magic, but people like hate him for it. They're like, we don't care if you're powerful, we don't like that. Yeah, so it's like you're not worth our time. And so that was actually that was a lot of fun. So that's definitely where kind of like that magic inspiration came from. I took a lot of, you know, inspiration from other people, but also being able to add just kind of its own element to that.
You also had to like mix up some of the magics a bit. Like, so many stories use elemental magic in different combinations, like earth, moon, wind, fire.
Yeah, I was waiting for the wind.
Anyone that's watched like Avatar.
Yeah.
So like you mix them around in interesting combinations, like light.
Yeah, you were really surprised that like
earth and water together under the
right, instead of water being a moon blessed thing. Yeah, there were a few things that I was like, I'm gonna do my own thing. So here we go.
Yeah, it was
which I enjoyed
making it creative and unique.
Yeah.
You definitely didn't copy anything.
No, that was.
But also, like, how many elements are there? Like, there's a limited number.
There's a limited number of elements. Oh man, what part of the book was the most fun to write? What was the most? I think the fight scenes, being able to incorporate flirting, banter, sword fighting, stabbing, dark elements, all in like this like same like. I think the fight scenes have to be my favorite. Kaysen and Brayla sparring might have been my favorite scene, like, of all time.
Julia raises a good point.
Rocket magic. Wind and fire magic makes rocket magic. Yes, that is Alan's magic. So if Alan lived in this world, you would definitely have wind and fire.
You don't have like wind and air magic.
I don't,
unless it's like an offshoot of storm that you'll write in later.
I've considered that, like because
options are endless.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, there are different worlds still in this world that still have to be explored. So, yeah, I think the fighting scenes are definitely the most fun to write, because it's you get to write action, and yes, I literally sit in this office and do all of the movements to make sure my characters can actually make those things. So I have a tripod over there. That's my sword. My dad 3D printed daggers for me, so that's going to be a new thing. I'm so excited for that.
They look really good.
They look so good. I can't wait to show you guys. But being able to like take those daggers and like do all of the movements that Brayla and Kaysen and all of them do is so much fun, because yes, I've done it before where I accidentally like add a third arm or a third dagger or something. Like, how do you move like that? Definitely done that before on accident. I think I was editing one scene. I added a whole nother horse. Don't know where this horse came from. I was like, horses.
I have too many.
I was like, I birthed a horse in the middle of this scene. There was just another horse randomly. And
those two died and those ran off. How is this one?
I was like, where did this horse come from? How many people do I have? And I have a cast of 5, and all of a sudden I have 8 horses, and I'm like, where did you come from? How'd you get here? So yeah, that's
6. You only had 1 extra horse.
I will say that's probably the most challenging part also of mirror magic. Ideas. I'm gonna quote you on that one. I'm gonna put you on that. Mirror magic would be fun. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. It's also the most challenging because yes, being able to make sure that you have all the right limbs and that characters aren't performing some acrobatic feat that is physically impossible. Mirror magic was the suggestion. You missed that. That's a good one. But yeah, that is also the most challenging. I think those scenes take me the longest. They're the easiest, but also the longest to write, just because making sure that everything is right, that you're entertaining and you're not dragging out this fight forever. Because I read a book. I'm not going to name it. It was several months ago. That there was this fight scene that went on for 3 chapters, and it was like they were having full conversation in the middle of the fight, and they performing these feats, and I'm like, are you not exhausted yet? I don't care how good of shape you're in and how much you've trained for sword fighting and things like that, but you can't last this long. But then also adding magic into the fight, that I think actually might be one of my favorite scenes. It's towards the end of the book. I won't spoil it. But adding magic, just another element, because there is magic fighting early on. But adding the one where it's the main focus of what they're doing, that one was so much fun to write. So much fun. Just the way that people move and the sort of hand signals that they have to do to call on this magic and what it does interacting with other magics, and then somebody who doesn't have magic fighting against magic, because you would think that oh yeah, if you have magic and somebody doesn't have magic, somebody's clearly the magic person's gonna win. But in this instance, you have somebody who's talented enough to. It's Brayla. It's Brayla. She has magic, but she obviously can't use it. She can't use her shadow magic and reveal herself, and so being able to fight with all of that was very enjoyable. So, okay, we're gonna play a game. Most likely to. So I have all of these lovely little cards that I've written with most likely to. So we're both gonna play. We're gonna trade off. You can pick one, and then I'll pick one. But we'll both give our answers. And if you guys have read it, you're more than welcome to chime in and say what you think the answer would be. So the first one: who is most likely to adopt a wild animal?
Oh, Farrah or Elias.
Really? Yeah. Why? I don't know. So my answer would be Brayla, because she has kind of adopted this shadow wolf that is following her around accidentally. I feel like she'd be the one to be like, Farrah, can I bring this animal into the house? And Farrah just be like, what?
I mean, you're the author, so I really shouldn't go against your impressions.
No, I wouldn't. But
like, Farrah and Elias's characters seems more like nurturing than, say, Brayla or
That's
others.
true. Brayla's kind of absent sometimes. She goes off and does her own thing for a while. Yeah, Farrah and Elias would probably be stuck taking care of whatever Brayla brought home. So they'd probably be like, well, all right, I guess we got to do this.
They would bond with an animal better.
They would definitely. Farrah would definitely bond.
Like, the whole Brayla Shadow Wolf thing is, like, not consensual.
That's true. I would not consensual.
Like, neither party is very happy.
Neither party is very happy to be involved with the other. That's a fair point. I also think, like, okay, Farrah's actually a good answer because, like, her and Moonheart have a pretty good relationship. It's a good thing Moonheart survived. He needed to survive. Poor Moonheart. He's been through some rough times. So, all right, what's our next one? Who's most likely
to listen to classical music?
Kaysen.
For calming.
Calming down. It would be like a counting mechanism for him.
I agree. I would also put it as Cyril.
That's also
since
true.
He's actually grown up
he's civilized.
In that area, right?
Because he's the most civilized of
Farrah wouldn't be exposed to it. Brayla would probably be
Farrah
too
would
impatient.
pretend. Farrah would pretend. She'd be like, I don't like this, but I'm the civil one.
Elias is probably like gone as far away from that from his past.
He's probably like, hell no.
Cyril and Kaysen,
yeah.
Kaysen, I agree.
Oh my goodness. All right, who's most likely to spend all of their savings?
I mean,
Brayla.
Brayla.
She literally spent all of her savings.
But I would say also Elias.
Also Elias, he's reckless.
He cares more about, like, doing things.
That's true.
Than just, like, accumulating
He just,
family.
like, blows all of his money.
But for good reasons.
Sometimes.
Well, okay, fair.
But
Now
that we know Elias.
We don't know the rest of his story yet.
We don't know the rest of his story yet, no. That's funny. Yeah. So, that's a good one.
Take a test while drunk.
Elias. And Brayla, probably. They would both take a test drunk.
Maybe Cyril. Who knows?
Explain.
He didn't want the tattoos. Like, he
was afraid of the tattoos. He might be drunk so that he could have an excuse for failing and not having to get the tattoos.
But 100% agree on Elias.
Yeah, Elias is just like, that's probably what he did when he went to the herbal tests. He probably just showed up drunk, passed them, likely. He likely passed them because he's a very functional drunk, as we will find out. Yeah, I have a feeling he would show up drunk to those and then just like not show up. He'd probably go out and party afterwards for the rest of that. Oh my goodness. Okay, who's most likely to have the most tattoos? Kaysen. Duh.
Yep.
He already has the most tattoos. Brayla's a close second though. Brayla doesn't have tattoos right now, but if she did, so that shard in her chest has given her all three affinities for shadow magic, illusion, shade, and command. So she's able to use all of the shadow magic. So she's been blessed with all three, which is pretty impressive.
Not everything in a bowl is for you.
Yeah, sorry, puppy. This is not food. But yeah, I think Brayla has a good chance to have some tattoos that rival Kaysen's. But of course, who's gonna ink it on her? I mean, she ain't got nobody around anymore. So, yeah, that's kind of rough. Yeah. So, oh, come on. You grab two.
Die doing something stupid.
No. Elias.
Brayla's
the answer to all of these. We had this argument earlier. Yeah.
Elias?
I feel like Elias is just like, he's so reckless and just like, I mean, so is Brayla. But like, I feel like Elias just doesn't really care at this point. Brayla still kind of has like something to live for a little bit. Like she's a little bit more rational.
So Elias would die doing something stupid for somebody else.
Yes. And Brayla she would probably be in the middle of one of her schemes, doing something stupid with one of her bets. and then die and just be like, okay, that's fair. That is one thing I wanted to bring up. I loved that might be actually my favorite part of the book to write, was scenes from the beginning of the book with Brayla that, like, she sets up these schemes and things like that, and they don't pay off until, like, the last few chapters. That was so much fun. Being able to set that up that entire time of, like, how the heck did she plan that far ahead? Because she's insane.
Oh, like with the Notebook?
Like with notebooks, with messing with Sarah, messing with Bolin. That was fun. You want to see Kaysen give Brayla a tattoo? Oh, that would be interesting. Have Kaysen give Brayla a tattoo.
Does he know how to tattoo?
They figure it out. Brayla didn't know how to tattoo, and she did that thing on Elias's shoulder. That would be fun. That's not a bad idea, having Kaysen give Brayla some sort of tattoo. I think that would be a really good bonding moment, especially after he was a dick. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Like, assuming they can reunite.
Yeah, you know. That would be interesting. That would be fun. I would enjoy that. Ooh. I gotta be careful. This is glass. I can't break it. Who's most likely to get their friends in trouble? All of them.
I mean, Brayla.
I mean, I think, yes.
Probably Elias also. Maybe.
Elias also. I feel like all of them. Like, all of them would do something.
Like, Cyril's a prince. Kaysen's job is to keep his people out of trouble.
Yeah.
Farrah's the responsible
I think
one.
the the three of them, like, they could get into some real trouble. Those three together, doing things together is dangerous. So, yeah.
Play a drinking game.
Who's most likely to play a drinking game? Elias and Brayla, still.
I think Farrah would join in.
Farrah would join in. Speaking of drinking games, if you want to play a drinking game, I have one up on my blog, laura-winter.com. It's my latest blog post. There is you could get drinks for each character, and there's a long list of things if you want to read the entire 744-page book at once and get completely wasted. Please drink responsibly. Yeah, if you want to do that, that's basically, as Emmy said, you read the first rule and you're drunk by page 5. So maybe shift it off with water. But it is a fun game, or just fun blog posts to look at. You don't actually have to play the game, but
is it time for your giveaway word?
It is time for my giveaway word. Okay, so the rules for this: please drop into my direct messages on Instagram and give me this code word that I'm about to say, and you'll be entered to win a signed copy of my book. U.S. only. I am sorry, shipping is a nightmare. But drop that in by 8:30 tonight Central Time. So that's an hour from now. You have an hour to drop this in, so you guys can hang around a little bit longer as we play this game. But the code word is Shadow Wolf. And so drop that into my DMs. I will give you a little heart or a like and acknowledge that I have gotten it. And so you will see that. So drop into my DMs and do that.
Why is it always you three?
Why is it always? It is. I have a meme for that. I will have to post that. I do have a meme for that. It's like, why is it always you three? I have a meme for that. I have a lot of memes that I have not posted all of them because people had not read it yet. That's really funny. Why is it always you three? That's definitely accurate. Okay, so the code word is Shadow Wolf. Drop that in my DMs by 8:30 tonight. I will pick a winner tomorrow morning because I'm an early bedtime person, and 7:30 is already past my bedtime, so you're welcome for staying up. But I will pick that winner tomorrow, and I will let you know, and I will make a post about it. So you guys have that, yes, signed copy. So, Shadow Wolf in my DMs by 8:30. Yeah. Hooray. Okay, we're going to keep playing. All right. Who is most likely to set the house on fire accidentally?
Jason.
Kaysen. He sets himself on fire often. Sometimes accidentally, sometimes on purpose. Yeah, it is already 8:30. It's 8:30 Central Time. Sorry, I will clarify that. So yeah, don't worry. You have until 9:30 then, technically. But yes. All right. What's the next one?
Most likely to punch a wall.
Elias.
Brayla.
And Brayla.
Not Elias.
Elias did punch a wall accidentally.
But
he did not mean to. He meant to hit something else.
Like, I don't put that as his first option.
That's true. Yeah.
He's usually pretty solid and pretty self-controlled.
Brayla, well,
there has to be a reason
very controlled. Yeah. I can picture Kaysen kind of trying not to lose his cool and doing that as well. Punching a wall, but yeah, that's definitely one. Okay, who's most likely to get caught hooking up in public?
Not Cyril.
Not Cyril. The other 4 have done it. Yep, the other 4 have done it. Yep. Sorry. I mean, I don't know. It's a romantic fantasy. Sorry, guys. Like, if I ruined that for you. Hi, Stormy. Yeah, it's a romantic fantasy. Things happen, sometimes in public.
Talk to animals.
Farrah. She talks to Moonheart.
And Brayla.
Brayla does. She talks to dead things. She talks to bones.
She would talk to animals.
She would talk to animals.
Maybe not adopt them, but talk to them.
Well, she does kind of technically talk to an animal, if you can call it an animal. But yeah. Who's most likely to be on reality TV?
I don't understand this question.
I think Oni would host a reality TV show. just to poke. That'd be funny. But I think Brayla. Like, I think she would actually, like, she would be the person on a reality TV show that, like, purposely starts drama. Like, just because she wants to be entertained. Like, she just wants to see how, like, everything unfolds. Yeah, just for the hell of it. I think that would be her. That would be her.
Maybe I don't understand reality TV.
Well, from what I've seen, which is like, 30 minutes of The Bachelor, that one time when I was on a bus driving home and texting you, I was like, I don't understand this show. It's like some guy just jumped a fence. That's the only thing I remember.
Say the wrong thing at the wrong moment.
Kaysen sticks his foot in his mouth a lot.
Really?
He's uncomfortable. He's a little slow on the social skills when he's, like, nervous. Yeah, Brayla would definitely be like, well, Oni definitely. Oni says the wrong thing at the wrong time. He done messes up. But yeah, Brayla definitely, she's more cautious, I think, just because she's been trained for so long to, kind of keep her mouth shut and just kind of like, she's hidden a shadow magic for this long. But yeah, I could definitely see her, like, screwing up and doing something.
Clever. Farrah just doesn't talk as much.
Farrah just doesn't talk as much, yeah. Yeah.
Would Elias say the wrong thing at the wrong? He might.
Elias would definitely do it. He might do that as well, yeah. Alright, this one I'm going to start a war with. Who is most likely to marry into a royal family? And this is for all you Cyril and Farrah shippers that y'all can't have a, like, normal platonic friendship between a guy and a girl. Y'all gotta go ship them together. I'm not making any promises. I'm not saying yes. I'm not saying no. But the amount of messages that I've gotten from friends, ARC readers, and people who are reading this are like, we want Cyril and Farrah to get together. And I'm like, okay, number one, their shipping name would be Farrell, which is hilarious.
Or Sarah.
Or Sarah. That's not as fun. Farrell. Yeah, this is for all you shippers of Farrah and Cyril, who, yes, they would be very cute together. But I also love their friendship. And I'm not making any promises. I'm not telling you what's going to happen in future books or anything like that.
I know what can happen.
There are multiple things that can happen. They can get together. They can not get together. There you go. There's the two things that can happen. Or one of them dies. Who knows?
Ooh.
Like, oh yes, I know everybody likes the idea of them together. No promises. I just find it funny. I included that one specifically because I wanted to call all of you guys out for always telling me, are they going to get together? Like, that is everybody's question, which I find hilarious. I don't mind answering that as a, who knows? So, sucks for you. You gotta wait.
This one's easy. Use code language in the midst of friends to communicate sexual intention.
Brayla.
Not Kaysen.
Not Kaysen or Cyril. I did like that one. That one was funny. Yes, there are multiple instances where those three are using sign language in front of Cyril and Kaysen, and they're like, what? Are you flirting in front of us? The answer is yes, usually. Who's most likely to cheer people up?
Farrah. No. No. Elias.
Cyril. Why do you say Elias?
It's just very dependable. Like, personable.
He is very...
Farrah's shy at first.
Yeah. So I liked this one. I thought this one was a good conversation topic what was the thing?
Oh, I wrote Cyril too.
You did write Cyril?
Yeah.
To cheer people up. I thought it was a lot of fun. With this book, I feel like there were a lot of like character one-on-ones that had this element of like, you know, Cyril and Brayla have like this special relationship with one another. More like a really friendly brother and sister, like, oh, like, I respect you, you respect me, like, we get along and things like that. And then, but there are a lot of elements where it's like one-on-one characters together. So like Cyril and Farrah have a good relationship. Farrah and Kaysen have their own one-on-ones, things like that. And so like getting them in like individual like conversations like that, I thought was actually a really good aspect of that, of like the cheering people up, because in a lot of instances each one of them has played that role with somebody else depending on the circumstance. So like Kaysen has done it for Brayla's done it multiple times for Kaysen, Brayla's done it multiple times for everybody, but I think like overall Cyril is like that solid like voice in it, of like this is what's happening, and you know, I got you, sort of like cheer you up sort of thing. So I definitely think that's a good one.
Start a bar fight. Brayla or Elias?
Brayla or Elias, and they've both done that. Yeah, y'all remember Roland, when Brayla, Farrah and Elias went off to the broom closet, and Brayla got bored, so she picked a fight. He can read the room. Yes, he can. Sarah can read the room and understand what's going on. We have a dog now. Yeah, definitely picking a bar fight. Brayla has done that on multiple occasions. Elias would definitely do that. I can picture Farrah doing it to distract somebody. Like, I can see her, that being her role, and being like, okay, like, roll with it.
She has done things impulsively at times.
She has. She's done some impulsive things.
Prequel.
So, yeah, prequel's going to be fun when you guys meet her. Okay. Who's most likely to become a magician? Brayla. She has illusion magic.
Well, like any of those three are so good at tricks.
That's true. I feel like she just pulls like the most pranks. But also she has illusion magic. So she can not only set an illusion for herself, but also like others, and that'd be fun. You gonna read the next one, Mando? What is it?
Pull off a prank.
Oh, Brayla. Oh, that was definitely the most
Farrah.
Farrah can pull off a good prank.
I think for this one I wrote not Kaysen or Cyril.
Not Kaysen or Cyril. They're really boring. Yeah, I definitely think, I mean, that's probably the most fun that I've had with a book, is like there were so many options for like jokes and pranks to be pulled, and that was quite enjoyable, being able to do that. So yeah, pulling off a prank. Brayla pulls off a lot of pranks in this one. Who is most likely to catch feelings after a one-night stand? Elias.
Or Brayla.
Elias did it.
Well, yeah.
Brayla walked into that bar and he fell in love with her. Just immediately. He knew. It's like, that's my woman. Yeah, definitely Elias. That's my vote for that. I think Brayla could definitely do that as well, but
maybe Kaysen. I mean, for the right person. Read every book in a library.
Cyril.
Or Brayla.
Brayla could definitely be the answer for all of these. That's kind of boring. I should have worked better for this.
Elias, nah.
Oh, Elias would not be seen anywhere.
I'm not saying Farrah doesn't like books, but that's not like
that's not her thing. It's just she doesn't like. She's very intelligent. The library is like.
Casey's too busy trying not to set the room on fire.
Casey's too busy trying not to set the room on fire, and he'd get distracted if Britt was in there, in the library. For those of you who are at chapter 25, I got you. Library. Is it 25? I think it's 25. I'm pretty sure it's 25. No, my turn. Oh. Who's most likely to date two people at once? Elias, Brilla, and Farah. They are literally, at the start of this, they are together. Like, the three of them. It's a polyamorous relationship. If I burst any of your bubbles, sorry. This is the relationship that they have. They're also open, so it'll be fine. But, yeah, they're definitely the ones to be dating each other. So.
Most likely to stand up to a bully. I think throughout the book, all of the five main characters, however, Sarah and Farah, Farah
when you
would
say
need a little more, like, not incentive, but encouragement to get
so
up.
So you have
Sarah grows into that as the book progresses, and Farah, she just needs the right push.
Like Jiva, in one of the early chapters, actually, when she first meets Kaysen, doesn't know it's Kaysen. She has that moment where she has to kind of step up, and she's uncomfortable, but she will do it because of the circumstances. That's definitely. Cyril definitely grows as a character throughout this book. Like he starts out, and you kind of have this picture of him, of who he is and what he's about, and a lot of people take him for granted. But you also see, now that he's around the assassins a little bit more, he's been forced to kind of leave his shell a little bit, and the characters kind of help him bring that out as well. But now that he's done that, you kind of see him grow into his role a little bit more, and it's always been there. So that aspect of him has always been there. But being able to add those elements of, like, as he grows as a character, being able to stand up, because, like, early on in one of the earlier chapters, there's a time when a character says something that they should not have said, and he just kind of, like, don't say anything. And then you have an instance where it happens at the end of the book where Kaysen has done something stupid, and Cyril's just like, you know what?
Kaysen has done something.
Kaysen has done something stupid, and he's like pissed. But you also see it, there's a time when Elias is distracting Cyril from bad things happening, and trying to keep him distracted so that he doesn't worry and stress and things like that. And you see Cyril actually stand up and kind of bicker back and forth with Elias. And I actually really I think that was so subtle, but I really loved that moment, because it's like, you see a piece of Elias from an outside perspective, of like, wow, I did not realize that Elias was so in tune with everything going on. You kind of just think he's like this super inappropriate guy who says, dumb things at the wrong times, and like instigates fights, and just kind of is a turd. But then you see him in this moment from an outside perspective, and the characters are just like, oh, like he's done something good. And so I liked that moment a lot. So yes, the future of this series, Smoke and Shadow, there are at least 3 books, right? I've said that. And there will be a prequel that I'm working on right now. So the other thing is, the more word gets out about this book, the more, I don't want to say incentive to write more, but to live in this world a little bit longer. At some point you do have to move on to other series, but y'all make this popular, and I will write all of the books for you. There are definitely a lot of avenues that I have prepared that can branch off and make this into a longer series.
She has.
And so
a lot of exciting possibilities come up.
Yeah, and so I'm really excited.
She gets to bounce ideas off of.
Yeah,
or I get to have your ideas bounced off me.
He has already written fan fiction. Not really. he after reading all of the book, he wrote down all of his ideas, and he was like, ooh, I would love to see this, or also like, I still have, how are you going to make this play out, and things like that. And so, he wrote a little bit of fan fiction, Dragon Shrug. There will be dragons. I got you. There's shadow wolves, dragons. There will definitely be a future for this. I'm working on the prequel now. You can bring your toy in here, Stormy. Okay, she's in the hallway screaming. Yes, the prequel is working on now. Obviously, I have the second book in the works as well.
Dog's under the chair.
Yeah, and so I have 2 more books planned for sure in this series, so not to worry about that. The other fun thing is, if you guys buy this book, there's access to a bonus scene that is only available if you have the paperback or the ebook. There's a link in there that I'm not going to share anywhere else, so it's only in the book. There's a bonus scene at the back. It is a scene from a different perspective, so you can get more flirting, Serral flirting with Brayla for Kaysen, drink. That's one of the drinking game rules. So you can get a lot of bonus stuff. Yes, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed writing that from Brayla's perspective, especially because you get this bonus look at something that you wouldn't have understood if the scene was originally told from her perspective, because you wouldn't have met some of the characters that she references yet. You wouldn't have understood some of the things that she references. So that was actually a lot of fun writing that, and so you get to kind of see it from a different perspective, understand what was kind of going on in her head at the time. So that is a lot of fun. So yes, that is at the end of the ebook and for the paperback. My last thing, well, number one, I want to thank Emmy for all of the artwork that she's done with all the characters. That has been so fun, and I'm blown away at the fact that she reached out and wanted to do this and enjoy the characters and enjoy the book enough to do this. The cover, this beautiful, beautiful cover is done by Angelique Van Almen. She did an incredible job. She put up with all of my little nitpicky, like, oh, I kind of want it to be able to do this, and like, switching of the fonts and things like that. And so she did a wonderful job. She made this look so pretty. I am absolutely in love. So definitely check out her work as well. You guys all have the code word to DM if you were in the middle of this stream, so you can be entered to win. I will pick that winner tomorrow. I'm so sorry. My final thing, okay, my challenge to you guys is, so when you reach the end of this book, Serral has translated something. You know the answer, so keep your mouth shut, because so we used to do podcasts, and he used to accidentally reveal things, and so I had to bleep him out, but I'm like, we're on a live stream, I can't bleep you out, so you can't reveal anything. You know what it is, but Serral translates a word at the end of the book. I want you, if you guys have figured out what that word is, or if you think you have, I want you to DM me and tell me what you think it is, because so far, everybody that I've asked there have been some really good responses, but nobody's quite been right. Now, I will say the answer's there. It is in the book, and it's available, but nobody's quite. It's not obvious at all, but it's there. And if you look hard enough, I think you'll be able to find it. When you do finally get the answer, it will be answered in book 2, I promise. And it'll be one of the first things you get, solved. If you think you can figure it out, it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. And when you see it, it'll be like, oh, yeah, it's right there. If you think you know it, I want to see your guys' answers, because nobody's quite gotten it right. There have been some really good answers as to what he has translated. There have been some really good answers, and I'm like, oh, that could have been fun too. But I had this answer, this is the plot. I've known this since I created Brayla as a character, since I've created this plot, this storyline, all of it. So if you think you know what it is, definitely DM me. I'm totally down to like see all of your guys' answers as well and see what your thoughts are on what that word means.
Good reveal for the second book.
It is awesome, and it's super, super worth it.
And more reveal for the third book.
And definitely more reveal for the third book. Second and third books are just like, whoop. But yes, apologies to my mother for writing sex scenes in this book. There are 3. No, sorry. Sorry, Mom. And Dad, if you end up reading this. Maybe sorry to you, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I hope you guys enjoy it. I had a lot of fun writing it. I had a lot of fun with the banter. I had a lot of fun with the joking, and it's been a lot of fun to be in these characters' heads. So I'm looking forward to getting back into it as well, and getting back, because there's definitely some darker elements in the prequel. Obviously, you guys, for those who have read it, they know that it's not exactly a happy happening before this book, but there are some good moments and some really, really good lessons learned in that one as well. So yeah, definitely, it's available on Amazon now, all over the place, all over Amazon, Kindle and paperback. It's a brick, it's a door stopper, and that's all I got. Thank you guys for joining. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you, hubby, for joining me. It's been a lot of fun. So thank you guys for joining, and I will catch you on the flip. Bye, guys. Yes, I want to end.